Hey, Pat, thank you for doing this role play with me today. We're going to role play for sale by owner call, pre qualifying, and then the listing appointment on Zoom. You ready to go?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay, cool. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, I'm looking for Pat.
This is Pat. Yes.
Oh, hey, Pat, this is Jackie. I'm a local real estate agent. I noticed that you have your property for sale. It looks like you're selling it by owner, right?
Yeah, we're selling it ourselves, and we're trying not to work with agents at this point. We're going to try a few weeks by ourselves, but we're just really working with just buyers.
Okay, well, I completely understand. Like I said, I did notice that you're selling it by owner, so you're not really using or working with agents at the moment. I get it. In fact, I decided to give you a quick call today because I do work with buyers and sellers here in our area, and I'm just calling to see how things are working out for you so far.
I mean, it's pretty good. We had a pretty busy. We just put on the market on Friday, so we had a busy weekend. We
Oh,
have like say two groups of people that will probably come back, with their family.
good
I
for you.
think we'll have it sold probably by this upcoming weekend. We'll have it sold.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a really good time to have the home for sale, huh?
Yeah, I think so. It's a very hot market. I mean, our
Yeah.
neighbors they just sold their house
Oh,
like
really?
the last month, and they sold it within a week too. So we think we'll
Yeah.
have the same luck.
I hear you. I completely understand. So two of the people that came in, you said, are interested, and they're going to be coming back with their families.
Correct. Yeah, I think we're gonna get sold. The two of them sounded very interested, and I just think they need their parents to come back, and I think we're gonna sell it this weekend.
Good for you, Pat. I'm just curious. Is saving the commission the reason why you decided, or is not paying the commission the reason why you decided to sell it yourself instead of
I
you?
mean, that's probably one of the biggest reasons. Like our neighbor, they're the ones that really pushed us to do it. They
Yeah,
sold their house, and they said, why pay the 6%? We have a $500,000 house.
yeah.
That's $30,000. I don't want to pay that.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100% I get it. I mean, if you can sell the home for the same price that I can sell it for, it would make no sense for you to pay me to do something that you could do it on your own. So,
Exactly. That's what we're thinking. Yeah.
and honestly, Pat, like you said, you're getting a lot of activity. We have a very strong sellers market right now. So there's no question that you can sell it. So in that sense, your neighbor is right. And
That's what we think. Yeah.
yeah, let me just ask you this, Pat. Hypothetically speaking, if you saw a clear financial benefit to work with an experienced professional agent like myself in the sale of your home, a financial benefit to you, where the commission would paying a commission would make you money, wouldn't cost you money. Is that something that you might be interested in looking at?
Maybe in the future, but we want to try it for maybe like 2 weeks or a month by ourselves, and then if we
Mhm.
can't sell it, we're realistic. We'll talk to agents at that point.
I get it. And by the way, Pat, I respect what you're saying. Okay. I'm not calling you today so you can say, well, I'm ready to list the home. Of course you wouldn't be, because I mean, first of all, I get that you're selling on your own. You have no idea who I am, how I work, or what I do. And at the same time, regardless of time, because I know you're not in a hurry and you want to give this a chance to work, so, regardless of the time, whether we were to meet now, a week from now, or a month from now, is it fair to say, though, Pat, that in this process of selling the home, you being able to sell the home for the most money possible and being able to keep as much money as possible is your number one priority?
Yeah, I think at this point, like we're our neighbors, they had a similar house, and they sold for 475, and
Well,
ours is a little bit nicer. We just did a update in the kitchen a few years back, so we
sure.
think 500,000 is really the highest price in this area. And if we put your commission onto it, I don't think like 530 wouldn't really make sense.
Right, right. And quite honestly, Pat, I am not going to insult your intelligence and discuss price with you over the phone without having done any research or looking at your home. It sounds like you did your homework in regards to the price. I completely understand. And here's what I want you to consider, Pat. If there was a better way for you to get this home sold, especially in this market, wouldn't you at least want to know about it?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I think it is I mean, if it is a realtor, is a better way. One thing we do have is our friend's
Right,
an agent. We'd have to go with them.
right. Well, and I respect that as well, Pat. I mean, there are tens of thousands of agents here in our area. Every single one of my clients knows someone else other than me in real estate. And at the same time, again, I don't know who your friend is. I imagine he or she is a good agent,
Oh
obviously.
yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah.
you wouldn't just give your home for anybody to
Yeah.
sell.
Oh,
And at
definitely.
the
Yeah.
same time, this is, I mean, I would imagine that you're looking at this as a financial decision. I mean, there's a lot of money involved, right?
Oh yeah, very. It's a lot of money. Definitely. That's why we're trying ourselves to save that money.
I get it. I really do. I completely understand. And so, in that case, Pat, if there was a significant advantage for you to work with someone other than your friend, would you consider it?
It'd have to be a significant advantage, to like not
Yeah,
give it to my friend. If it was a significant advantage, we would think about it. Sure.
right, exactly. I mean, hey, Pat, if you and I were to meet and you, in your opinion, your friend and I are equal, of course you're gonna use your friend because yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you're
definitely.
yeah, you already they already have their foot in the door with you, absolutely. And so here's what I propose, Pat. Let's set up a time to meet for 20 minutes. No commitment on your part. What I like to do is show you exactly how and why I can benefit you financially in the sale of your home, what the advantages would be of you working with an experienced professional like myself. And hey, at the end of our meeting, you decide what's best for yourself. Would you be available for 20 minutes around 3 o'clock today? Would four be better?
Yeah, I wouldn't be open say to 5, but I mean, I can't promise we're going to listen with you, but I will listen to what you have to say.
Great.
My friend is a very good friend. You'd have to really knock my socks off for me to go with you.
I appreciate that. And I look forward to our meeting. So, did you say 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock would be better, probably.
5
5
p.m.
o'clock.
Okay, great. I have you down for 5 o'clock. I'll see you then.
Perfect.
Now, Pat,
Perfect.
real quick before our meeting, so that I can be better prepared when I come out at 5 o'clock today. Tell me, when we sell this home, whereabouts will you be moving to?
We're going to move back to, we're from Alabama, that area. And my mother is getting older. So we want to get closer to her, make sure she enjoys the rest of her life. She's getting really sick.
Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it would be important for you to be close to her for sure. It'll be good for both of you, definitely. Pat, and I know you said you're not in a hurry, but in an ideal world, when would you like to be in Alabama?
I guess probably like around September to November, before December, I guess.
Okay, so we're in the end of July, August, September. So within the next 2 to 4 months.
Yeah, I think it sounds practical the way things are selling so quickly, right?
Right. Yeah. I have no doubt that you'd be able to actually get there fairly quickly, Pat, if you and I are working together. And so I know you said you're asking 500,000. I am going to do some detailed research, Pat. So when we meet, we can look at it together. I'm going to take a look at your home and we could figure out what is the highest price that we can sell your home for. Okay. In
That
today's
sounds perfect. Yeah,
so
perfect.
so how much are you thinking that you would like to actually list the house for?
Well, we were thinking 500. Now, if we had to put your commission on top of it, we'll probably, I guess, 530. We'll talk more about that. But we're thinking 530, so we still walk away with the same amount of money.
Mhm. I understand. And Pat, are you the only owner of the property, or is there anybody else that's on the deed with you that would need to be present for our meeting?
Yeah, my wife, she'll probably want to be there as well. She'll make part of the decision as
So
well.
she will be there at 5 o'clock today.
Oh yeah, I'll make sure she's there. Sure.
Excellent. And Pat, I look forward to meeting with you. And I gotta ask you, if if at the end of our meeting you are as confident as I am that hiring me is the best financial decision you can make, you'll be ready to do it.
I mean, we'll be open to it, but like I said, you really have to show us because
Yeah,
it's my friend of mine, and my wife likes their family, so you really have to show us something.
yeah. I'll tell you what, Pat. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and your wife. And if at the end of our meeting, you don't, both of you don't feel like I am the best agent in this marketplace to handle the sale for you, I wouldn't expect you to hire me because that wouldn't make any sense. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm confident that when we meet, you will clearly see why we should be working together.
Perfect. That sounds perfect.
Great. I look forward to seeing you at 5 o'clock today.
Very good.
Cool. So now we're going to go into the Zoom presentation. So I didn't really get asked for your email address. I don't want to waste time on that during the role play, but I will say now, before you go on a an appointment, we're going to obviously do this on Zoom. Your wife, like you're the, I said, will your wife be here? But in the end, let's pretend you're the only owner, okay? Because you're the only one role playing with me.
Okay.
And I'm gonna send you, if I'm using a pre-listing package, I'll send a pre-listing package without the market analysis. The market analysis needs to be sent out 5 minutes before the appointment. You don't want him to sit and start looking at it and questioning the comps. You don't want any of that. It's just right before the appointment. The pre-listing package, if you're using one, needs to include the listing agreement ready for electronic signature, completely filled out with the exception of the price. Okay.
Perfect.
So now it's 5 p.m. and we are on Zoom for our appointment, Pat. There you go.
I'm ready.
So, hey, Pat, good to see you. Thank you again for taking the time to meet with me today.
Well,
I
thank you, Jackie. You sounded very interesting on the phone, so we figured we'd give you a chance.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I know that when we spoke over the phone, Pat, I told you that I am confident that working with me is going to make sense for you financially. And I'm sure you're kind of curious about how that can be possible, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's the only reason we're meeting with you. You say you're going to make us more money, and
Yeah,
you're better than our agents, so we want to see that. Yeah, definitely.
absolutely. So Pat, I'd like to actually start our meeting today, just going over some of the information that I wanted to share with you in regards to how I'd be able to actually net you the most money possible from the sale. Okay. Pat,
Sure.
are you familiar with the National Association of Realtors? Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them. I don't really know much about them, but I've heard of them. Sure.
Well, I wouldn't expect you to know a lot about them because you're not a real estate agent, right? You're just
Sure.
a homeowner. But the National Association of Realtors, Pat, they've been around for decades. And what they do is they study homes, home sales, home prices, all things related to real estate. And every year, sometimes every 2 years, they publish a report called Profile of Buyers and Sellers. And one of the parts of that report, they talk about for sale by owners and all the statistics that they gather from that year, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that's interesting, and that's why I'm bringing it up, last year, Pat, in 2020, based on all this research from the National Association of Realtors, they studied all the home sales in the country, and they determined that for sale by owners, homeowners just like yours, that sold, that successfully had a sale, they actually sold, Pat, for 24% less than the homes that were listed and sold by agents. Are you familiar with that information?
That seems very high. I would never sell my home for
Oh,
24% less. There's no
absolutely.
way. I know my neighbor did, and they sold it for above, really.
Right. Well, and here's what's interesting, Pat, and I'm gonna mention it again just so that you're clear on what it is I'm saying. 24% less than the homes that were listed and sold by agents, in comparison to homes that were sold by a real estate agent. And obviously, you're not going to lower your price by 24%. You have no reason to do that. These are averages nationwide. You and I are meeting today because you want to sell your home for the most money possible. And you want to walk away from the closing table with the most money possible, too, right?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I wanted to mention to you is this statistic that I just shared with you in terms of that percentage, there are a lot of reasons why, Pat, for sale by owners on average sell for so much less than the homes that are sold by agents. And I know this is going to make sense to you when I bring it up. I'm sure you've heard of the law of supply and demand, right?
I had a class of that in high school or something like that. Yeah.
I didn't even took an economics class in high school, but I mean, most people understand the law of supply and demand, which says that the more demand that you can create for any product or service that you're selling, whether it's a car, a house, or a pair of shoes, more demand equals more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like if you want to sell, let's say in the case of your property, it's not if you want to sell it, you do want to sell it for the absolute highest possible price this market will give you, right?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to sell it ourselves for. We think that's probably the best way, if we can sell it ourselves.
Right. No, I get where you're coming from. And at the same time, doesn't it make sense, Pat, that to get the highest possible price, you have to expose your property to 100% of the buyers?
Oh yeah, I agree. And the
Yeah,
more people that look at it, the more money we'll get. Sure.
exactly. That like 100% of the buyers is 100% of demand, all of the exposure. You don't want to leave any stones unturned. You want every buyer that is buying in this area, in this price range, to know that your house is for sale, right?
Yeah, we definitely want that. We think we have a good exposure. We have it on like different websites. I think it's getting us. We're getting a lot of calls.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you told me that you got two buyers that are interested, that are coming in with their families. So I get it 100%. Now, Pat, here's what's interesting also. Last year in 2021, nationwide, of all the homes that were sold nationwide, think about this, Pat, 92% of all the homes sold, they were sold by agents, meaning 92% of buyers used an agent to buy the home. And what that means is that only 8% of homes were sold without an agent. In
That
essence,
seems like a very high number, doesn't it?
yeah, it's a high number. And I'll tell you, that number, because I've been looking at this research from the National Association of Realtors for decades. I've been in real estate for 25 years, and it's been pretty consistent. It's never been any lower than 90%. And there's a really good reason for that, Pat, because wow, that's such a high number. Like, how come, right?
Right. That's what I'm
Well,
thinking. Yeah.
I know this is going to make sense to you, Pat. Here's why: because buyers don't pay any commission to real estate agents. Now, think about this. You, as a seller, if you choose to hire me today, you would pay a commission, and a portion of that commission will go to the buyer's agent. So the buyer doesn't pay any commission. The seller is the one who pays. That's just the real estate, how it's
Well, isn't
structured.
it sort of with the price I pay? I'm paying the commission also, right? Based on my
No,
price.
not really. I mean, think about it. For sale by owners last year nationwide sold on average for 24% less. So the commission, I mean, my commission is 6%. So when you think about it, Pat, you could pay my commission and still end up with literally tens of thousands of dollars more in your pocket. So it's really not costing you money. It's going to make you money, and I'm going to be taking all of the work away from you, and you're going to have a professional negotiator handling every aspect of the sale of your home, because the price is only the beginning. It's not the end of the sale of the home. There's the price, there are all the terms of the contract, and then we're talking about inspections. The minute we sign a contract, usually within a week or two, the buyer is going to hire a home inspector, and the buyer is going to pay for that inspection. I mean, the inspector's job is to come and pick your home apart. so they can find, sometimes they find things that are not, they're totally irrelevant. I mean, they're not even functional items, but the job of this inspector is to give the buyer a long list of repairs that cost a lot of money so the buyer can negotiate with you and get you to
One thing, my wife, she works with a general contractor, and she knows a lot about construction. My wife, so I think
yeah.
realistically, we're gonna get if we do it to fix things, we'll get good prices from our boss, and plus she knows what makes sense to fix and
Yeah,
not as
well,
well.
here's the deal, Pat. I appreciate that. My job in working with you, though, is to negotiate the inspections in a way that it will cost you little to no money. And I've done it, I've done it thousands of times. So I know exactly how to protect your interests when negotiating the repairs of the inspection, okay? And then the next thing that's gonna happen is an appraisal. And there are times also when there are appraisal issues, and I know how to work with appraisers in that way. And then there are walkthroughs, there's all the paperwork. I mean, there are a lot of things involved where when hiring me and working with me, Pat, I take all of that away for you, not to mention the
One thing,
legal.
my neighbor is a lawyer, so I mean they would do the work for me for free. They said they would go through the contracts and all that stuff. So
They
for that, I feel pretty confident with my neighbor.
Yes. They actually, attorneys are helpful once you find the buyer and you actually negotiate the terms of the contract. They'll write the contract. I mean, they're not negotiating on your behalf. They're just handling the legal side of all the paperwork. So from beginning to end, Pat, in marketing the home aggressively, because again, the price is just the beginning, but it is one of the most critical things because you want to be able to sell the home for the most money possible. And your attorney is not a marketing expert. His job is not to maximize the exposure on your property. And that's the first thing we need to do to sell it for the home for the most money possible, right?
I think that's true. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So, Pat, we were talking about that 92%, right? That of
Exactly. Yeah, they're not
buyers
a
that
big
buy
number. Yeah.
that buy from agents. I mean, the reason why they do is because they don't have to pay a commission, and I'm sure that makes sense to you, Pat. I You're selling on your own so that you can save the commission, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Now, if I said to you today, Pat, I got a great deal for you. I am going to market your home aggressively. I'm going to negotiate everything on your behalf. I'm going to handle every aspect of the sale of this home for you. And I will do it for free. For free. Would you go ahead and let me do the work for you, Pat?
Sure. If you're doing it for free, I'll definitely. Yeah. When do you want to do that?
See, this is what real estate agents offer buyers. So it's easy to see why 92% of buyers would say, yeah, go ahead, help me find a home. It doesn't cost me anything, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you think about it, Pat, in your opinion, what would motivate a buyer to pass up all of the services of a licensed, professional, experienced real estate agent and go look for a house on their own?
Well, I think nowadays there's so much on the internet. I mean, buyers really don't need realtors. You can look on Zillow, Trulia. There's all these websites. So, really, I mean, I don't think buyers need realtors at this point.
Yeah. Well, and Pat, there's no doubt internet is huge. It is 100%. And actually, according to the National Association of Realtors, 90% of buyers at some point they search online before they buy a home. And still they search online and then they contact a local real estate agent and they end up using an agent to buy again because the services are free. So if and by the way, 8% of homes are sold privately. They're sold by owner. So there are some buyers that actually buy directly from a homeowner. But when you think about the services being free to the buyer, What is their motivation to actually pass all of that up, Pat?
Well, if they're gonna go without a realtor, I guess they wanna probably, get the price down a little bit lower, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's the same motivation. Why are you selling on your own? To
Yeah.
save.
I mean, I might come down a little bit, but, not that much. I still wanna make the most amount of money, right?
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, this is your home and it's probably one of your biggest investments. And you're entitled to get every penny out of this property. And here's what's interesting, Pat, because I know you mentioned that you're getting a lot of activity. And that's super important. I mean, that's like the first step in being able to find a buyer.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I can't believe how many people are calling to see the
Yeah.
house.
Think about this, Pat. I deal with this every day as a real estate. Every real estate agent deals with this. Of every 100 buyers, or I'm going to put it in quotes, potential buyer calls that I get every day, you and I, same, okay? 4 out of 100, 4% are ready, willing, and able. The other 96%, Pat, are not ready, willing, and able to buy right now. They're calling on properties, they're walking in open houses, they're searching online, and they want to go see homes, but they're not ready to buy right now. 70% of the 96% have frozen equity, meaning they have a home they currently own that it's not sold yet and they need to sell their home, take equity out to be able to buy the next home, but they're not in that position yet. They're all looking around. You know, a lot of buyers do that. Maybe you've done that in the past. I don't know, where they say, yeah, I think it'd be a good idea for us to move. Yeah, let's go and see what's out there before we put our house for sale. 70% of them. So these are people who are going to buy at some point in the future, 3, 4, 6 months, however long it takes before they list the home, they sell the home, but they're not ready right now. And then they're investors. You know, investors, they're looking to get their money to work for them. And they want to put in $1 and get two back. And there are a lot of investors buying properties out there, and there are a lot of people flipping properties or looking for rental properties, and those are the buyers that typically pay less, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, for the homes. And we were talking about the frozen equity, Pat. There's another huge percentage of buyers that are they're looking at properties to buy, but they're going to end up renting. And there are people that are just bottom line looking around. So you got to take into consideration actually being able to separate, Pat, the lookers from the real buyers. You know, to be able to get out of 100, how do we know who are the four that we should be spending time with? Because as real estate agents, I mean, we don't get paid for showing property, we get paid when we sell one. So we got to be very selective and qualifying and pre-qualifying and asking a lot of questions before we put a buyer in the car and go show them properties. And I imagine that from your perspective, you would want to do the same thing. I mean, you're not interested
Yeah.
in.
I don't want people just walking through the house. No, not at all.
Right, exactly. And I would imagine you're also not interested in selling your home to an investor who's just looking to get a great deal and then turn it around and maybe sell it or rent
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, the market's too hot now. I'm not going to just give it away to anyone.
Yeah,
I'm not in that situation.
100%. I don't see any reason why you should. So, Pat, let me ask you this. Based on this conversation we've had, you know, of exposure, because that really is one of the very important reasons why. I mean, to sell this home for top market price, we need 100% exposure. And on your own, with all the marketing that you're doing, because I know you said, you know, you have it on hundreds of websites. You mentioned to me earlier that you've even done some open houses and you've taken professional photos. The reason why you're doing all of this is because you want to be able to attract the most buyers possible. So you understand the concept here. I mean, that's really
Right.
important. And at the same time, Pat, with all the marketing strategies that you have in place right now, basically at this point, you got to kind of just, sit around and wait for the phone to ring and the buyers to call you, right?
That's what we're yeah, they're calling us now. That's what we're getting. I guess it's like a machine working, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, Pat, in addition to all of the things that you're doing, what I do for my clients is I spend 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, on the phone. And I'm actually speaking with people I know and people I don't know, looking for buyers for my listings and also looking for more listings because more listings generate more buyers calls and it gives me a chance to cross sell and potentially sell any one of the properties that I have for sale. So the one of the many advantages of working with me, Pat, is I'm not going to sit around and wait for the buyer to find us. My job is to get out there and find the buyer for your home and then negotiate the highest price and the best terms for you. And how we're going to be able to do that is by maximizing the exposure. We're not just going to keep it to 8% of the buyers. We're going to attract the ready, willing, and able buyers that are paying the highest prices for homes. I mean, ultimately, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, we definitely want the most money. Yeah, definitely. I think one thing though, I think my friend, she's a pretty good agent as well, and I think she does stuff like that, make phone calls. I'm sure. So
Yeah.
that's probably something a lot of you realtors do, right?
Actually, you'd be surprised. Look. I don't know your friend. I mentioned to you over the phone. Is it a lady?
It's a lady, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure she's a good agent. You'd be surprised to know, Pat, though, that less than 0.5% of agents do the type of work that I do. The speaking with people on a daily basis because bottom line is you and I both know there's a buyer for your home out there.
I think so, definitely. Yeah.
My job is to go find them. We're not going to sit around and wait for the buyer. I'm going to go out and find them. And that's what you would expect an agent to do for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where they're getting paid. They want to get us a buyer top price, right?
Absolutely, 100%. So, Pat, based on all this information that I shared with you, can you see the benefits and the financial benefit as well? I mean, you want to sell it for the most money possible. We need to maximize the exposure. And with all of the work that I do and all the experience that I have, can you see how working with me would be a huge benefit for you?
It does seem like so. What are some of the things that you will actually do to like bring buyers in here? You keep saying what are the things that you'll do?
Well, Pat, as I said, we start by Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until noon. I'm on the phone. I speak with 40 to 50 people every single day, Monday through Friday, looking for buyers, looking for sellers. Actually, it's a pretty interesting work that I do. You're welcome to stop by my office any day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till noon, and see me in action. And I'll show you exactly what I do. I have I have actually an online system that I use to gather information for different neighborhoods. One of the things that I will do, Pat, is I'm going to start in your area. I'm going to not print necessarily. That was years ago. We actually search online and we create a list of homeowners in your area, 300 to 400 homeowners, your neighbors, and we get their address, their name, their telephone number, and I am going to personally contact all of your neighbors to let them know that we listed your home for sale and ask them if they know anyone who might be interested in buying your home. And here's what's fun about this, Pat. I may or may not find the buyer for your home while I'm calling around your neighborhood. I mean, maybe not. But see, that doesn't even matter because I do this every single day. Pat, the next day, I may be calling an area like 30 minutes away from your home. And while I'm calling over there, talking about another property, they say to me, well, I don't know anybody that wants to buy around here, but my sister is looking to buy over there. And that person could be the perfect buyer for your home. This is what I do every day, Pat. So you could see how the possibilities are endless. Now, I'm not guaranteeing to you that I will be the one to find the buyer for your property, but I'm not going to stop until we do. And we negotiate the highest price for you. The other thing that's very important that I do, Pat, in our area, 10% of the agents sell 90% of the homes. So
Wow,
there's a small group of top agents, and I'm gonna personally contact those agents to let them know about your home, because putting it in the multiple listing service is great, but there are thousands of homes for sale. We don't want your home to be a needle in a haystack. We want it to stand out to the top agents that are selling most of the homes in our area. So I will be doing that as well. Okay. So,
that
Pat,
sounds perfect. Yeah,
based on all this information, are you ready to go? We can talk about the price, agree on a price, and we can get out and go get your home sold. How does that sound?
that sounds perfect. Let's go to work.
Great.
Good
I
job.
look
Good
forward to
job, Jack.
getting the property sold for you. So, Pat and I, this is the end of the role play. We talked about not really going through the CMA because we didn't want to prolong this. So we're assuming that now you're going to take them through the market analysis, look at the active listings, the recent sales, agree on a price, get out, get the listing agreement signed, and get the job
Good
done.
time. Good job.